They may have the same record, but Philadelphia certainly has to be a lot more disappointed with its 2-4 record than Minnesota. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horwitz and NFL.com's Pat Kerwin. Glad to be with you. And Pat, let's get it. We'll get into the Philadelphia situation in a sec, but I want to start with Brad Childress. Spent a lot of time with the Eagles as a coordinator, now coach of the Vikings. I know you know him very well. What is this weekend like for him?
Oh, this is a very important weekend for Brad. I talked to him this morning about it. He's excited. He's trying to stay away from Andy Reid as one of his best friends. They said they decided not to talk to each other this week. And that'll make it an interesting challenge for both these guys. Where I find the game intriguing, though, is Brad is the guy who raised Donovan McNabb. He knows all the idiosyncrasies about McNabb, how he likes to escape from the pocket, what he struggled with coverage-wise. So we're going to see some clues as to how to play the Eagle offense from Brad Childress as he counsels his defense.
Well, let's talk about that Eagles offense and Andy Reid, because if you take away the Lions game, they have 3 touchdowns in 5 games. Just 3 touchdowns in 5 games. What is different about this year's offense from last year's offense?
Well, when I look at this offense, first I don't think that McNabb was right the whole way. I think he's starting to get physically better. He's not as accurate as I'd like to see him as a quarterback. He did not have Westbrook all the time. By having Westbrook back and at full speed right now, we're going to see the offensive production go up again. And those receivers, they have been a frustration for every Eagle fan and everyone who believes in the Eagles that they should be in a Super Bowl kind of run. They haven't lived up to their end of the bargain. And most importantly, L.J. Smith. Whether his numbers show up or not, L.J. Smith's a vertical tight end who's a matchup problem. He's not able to play. That has given opponents the opportunity to play them in a much more conventional manner and restrict this offense.
And if he can go, because at this point it is an if he can go against the Vikings, he will help them in the red zone where they have struggled the most. So as for the Vikings offense and Brad Childress, Adrian Peterson, after his great game against Chicago, had just 12 carries against Dallas. Why?
And I asked Brad that question. You have to ask that question. He said, Pat, we had 49 offensive plays. It's a little left-handed compliment or a comment by you to ask me that question. The opportunities weren't there, so I went back and did my homework. How much is Adrian Peterson getting the ball rather than just criticize him? When you look at his kick returns, his receiving, and his rushing, the guy's touching the ball 22 times a game. Oh, that's the same number LaDainian Tomlinson has in San Diego. I think we ought to lay off Brad Childress' handling of Adrian Peterson.
Well, Peterson does lead the NFL in rushing after 7 weeks. As for the quarterback, Tavares Jackson, not expected to play, broken finger on his throwing hand. And we talked about this extensively on the Subway postgame show with Charlie Casserly about who would you rather have, who gives you a better chance to win. And I know the situation in Minnesota with what you've talked about is they're going to go with the young guy and see who they have. Now they can't. Kelly Holcomb, better chance to win?
Well, you know, Kelly Holcomb, you would think so on paper. This guy's been in playoff games. He's a savvy quarterback, but he was sacked 10 times in very limited pass attempts. Can't get out of his own way. Remember, he spent the summer with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagle defense knows him. They will be encouraged to blitz him. They will be encouraged to fire zone the scheme against him and get Trent Cole and the other guys into his face and try to get him to make mistakes. He'll get the ball off. And the question still remains in Minnesota, can anybody catch the ball for the guy? Because there are going to be opportunities deep to go with this pass.
Just throw it to Taylor and Peterson the whole game. Just give it to him the whole game.
Once again, Adrian Peterson leading the team in yards per reception. That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Whitehouse got to do that.
Yeah, Sidney Rice has to step up. Their second-round pick. They drafted offense. They needed to show up. Let's throw all those numbers into a computer. 10,000 tests, 10,000 results. It's the AccuScore prediction, and here's what it came up with for this game. Despite what we said about the Eagles and their abilities, computer has the Vikings in a toss-up game. This is the exact same percentage that it had Jacksonville beating Indianapolis last week. Pat, who do you like here?
You know what? I'm going to go against the computer this time. I know that's going to break the computer's heart, but I am going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. Andy Reid has a long history of being a very good road team coach, and he does know Brad Childress too, which we didn't discuss. And I don't know that Kelly Holcomb, if I had to pick quarterbacks, I'll take Donovan McNabb over Kelly Holcomb. If I had to pick defenses, I'll take that Viking run defense, but I'll take the Eagle pass defense. I'll take the Eagles to win this one by a point.
And I'm going to take a big game for Kevin Curtis. He lit up the Lions. He's going to light up the Vikings as well. All right, the teams meet in Minnesota for the first time in 10 years. The Eagles have beaten the Vikings 6 of the last 7 times. The two kick it off at 1 p.m. Eastern. For more on this game or the rest of Week 8's matchups, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com and watch everything else all over the CBS Audience Network. For Pat Kerwin, I'm Jason Horowitz.
Take care.